Hi everyone and welcome back. So in this video I am going to swatch my top 10 concealers. I don't even remember the last time I did a video like this, like sit down and swatch all my concealers and talk about them. I think I did it years ago, and since that time I have tried a lot of different concealers. There have been a lot of different amazing launches in the market. So this is like a fresh updated list of my top 10 concealers. Now for reference, I am NC40 in MAC, and I am going to list a few more of my foundation shades in the description box. And by the way, after this I am going to swatch my top 10 foundations too. So let's get started. First is the Makeup Revolution Super Concealer in C11.2. I have been talking about this concealer a lot. This is very affordable and is perfect for a no foundation look. This has up to medium coverage. C11.2 is my perfect shade. The finish is radiant matte. On my skin and with the skin prep I like to do, this has a dewy finish. It's very skin-like, very blendable. This is available in 10 shades, and the shade I have is for medium to tan skin tone with olive undertone. It has a good lasting power. I wore it for 5 hours max. When I tried this concealer for the first time, my reaction was, I can't believe this is Rs.350. Trust me, it's better than all the Insight and Swiss Beauty concealers I have tried. I got rid of all of them after trying this. Next, I have the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer. This one is in the shade 36 Golden. This is a highlighting shade for me. I don't like covering my pigmentation with this. It's perfect for just the under eyes. This concealer has buildable medium to almost full coverage. It's not actually a full coverage concealer. The only reason why I still have it is because it reminds me very much of my MAC Studio Fix Fluid. The texture and the finish are kind of similar. I won't call it a dupe exactly. There are 9 shades available on Nykaa. This has a very creamy formula and is very blendable. Overall, it's an amazing budget-friendly, beginner-friendly concealer. It's also one of the oldest concealers I have. Earlier, I used to use the shade medium, which was too light for me. Next is another one of my most used concealers. This is also one of my favorite drugstore concealers. This is the PAK Take Cover Concealer, and the shade I have is called Classic Beige. This is another concealer that I can use for a no foundation look. It's the perfect shade for me. This has medium to full buildable coverage. It's also available in 23 shades, which is a spot on shade range. They have all types of shades for concealing, highlighting, contouring, and correcting. It has a semi-matte finish. The finish of any concealer also depends on the products you apply underneath. So most of my concealers end up looking very radiant, very dewy. I don't like concealers that mattify quickly and ones that are difficult to blend. This is another concealer that you can purchase if you are a beginner. The lasting power is also good. Most of my concealers stay very well for as long as I wear them. There will be creasing on the under eyes, that's unavoidable, but all the options I shared till now do not crease in the smile lines. Next, I have the NYX Bare With Me Concealer. This is a serum concealer and it's my favorite mid-range concealer. It's totally worth every penny. I have the shade Tan. I sometimes like using this as a foundation as well. It's so lightweight, so blendable, also has amazing coverage and a dewy finish. You need to apply the least amount of this concealer. You can also mix this with a moisturizer to create your own tinted moisturizer. But please make sure to start with the least amount if you use this as a concealer. This will crease easily if you use too much. The shade Tan is a spot-on match for me. I also use this to cover my pigmentation. It's available in 8 shades. The lasting power is 7+ hours and the MRP is Rs.999. Then I have the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Eraser. It's available in 9 shades on Nykaa. I have medium and caramel. Medium is a highlighting shade for me and caramel is a bit too orange for my skin tone. The MRP is Rs.720. I don't know why I feel that Maybelline reformulated this concealer. Earlier it used to be matte and it was super full coverage, but now it has this soft matte finish and has medium to full buildable coverage. I definitely like the latter more now. The lasting power of this is 6+ hours. There are 9 shades, but I still can't find an exact shade for my skin tone. So I mixed these 2 shades. I really don't know why they don't launch all the shades in India. I definitely don't want to carry 2 concealers with me. Plus the shade Butterscotch is not at all what it looks like on the website. So overall it's one of my favorite concealers, but I need more shades. Then I have the e.l.f. Cosmetics Hydrating Camo Concealer. I'm so glad that the hydrating version was launched in India because the 16-hour camo concealer is something I didn't like. I have the shade Medium Sand in this. This again is a highlighting concealer shade for me, so I don't like covering my pigmentation with this. This has full coverage. You want to use just 1 dot and it does the job. It looks flawless on my under eyes and it also has a more natural finish than the 16-hour camo concealer. The staying power is really good, 9+ hours, and it has a satin finish. This is a good concealer for all skin types. I like blending it in with a sponge because sponge absorbs some product, giving it a more natural finish. There are 11 shades available on Nykaa, but most of the time, majority of the shades are out of stock. I had to wait for days to order this shade. I think medium sand, the shade that I have, is in stock right now, so you can check it out. Next, I have the Too Faced Born This Way concealer. I purchased the shade Cookie and received the shade Sand from the brand. Sand is a highlighting shade and Cookie is a concealing shade. I only purchased the shade Cookie because I always see a lot of people raving about this concealer and using this as well. This has amazing lasting power. This has the best lasting power, I think. It will last more than 10 hours if you don't decide to take it off. Again, full coverage, you need the least amount to cover imperfections. Sometimes even less than a dot. The shade Cookie is just a tiny bit too yellow for me. Sand is perfect but a little light, so I use it for highlighting. Again, I like blending this in with a sponge. I really like the packaging of this concealer. You know, it looks very chic with all the golden in the packaging and the diamond shaped doe foot. It's available in 35 shades. Again, you get all types of shades, like for concealing, contouring, and correcting. The consistency is definitely a little bit more thick than the other concealers I have. And this has got a matte finish. I will say that it feels very weightless for the coverage it gives. If you want to buy your first high-end concealer, you should definitely keep this as an option. It's actually worth the money. Next is, oh my god, the Rare Beauty concealer. I have never tried a concealer like this. I am so glad that I purchased this. When I tried it for the first time, I was confused. It gave me amazing coverage and somehow it looked super natural. I felt like I haven't applied anything on my under eyes and my dark circles were covered. I have the shade 340C. I use it for concealing. This is not a highlighting shade. It has a slight pink undertone. It looks okay on my skin tone. The pink undertone doesn't bother me at all. The formula of this concealer is everything. It blends like butter. Can you see how natural this looks on my skin? I just wish that the MRP was a little less in India. Also, the shades go out of stock really quickly. By the way, these are available on Sephora India. If you travel outside India, you can definitely consider getting this one. This is definitely one of my top 5 concealers for dry and combination skin. After this, I have the Smashbox Halo Perfecting Pen in M10N. This again is a concealing shade for me. I can use this without foundation. This too is a concealer for very skin-like natural finish. It does give you the coverage. It has medium to full buildable coverage. It's so easy to use and carry and it's very blendable. I will say that this does crease in my smile lines easily, but I still love it for the skin-like natural finish this gives. It has a dewy finish on my skin. It's available in 26 shades on Nykaa. Again, there are shades for concealing, correcting, highlighting, and contouring. This is a concealer I love doing my full face with. It has a very lightweight hydrating formula, so it's just perfect for dry skin. By the way, I use the shade L20W for highlighting and T10N for contouring. And I will say that this has a lasting power of 6+ hours. Ultimately, I have the MAC Studio Fix Fluid Concealer in NC42. This again is a highlighting shade for me. I use NC40 as foundation from MAC, so I guess their concealer shades are definitely 2 to 3 shades lighter than their foundation shades. This has a very liquidy consistency. It has good lasting power. I wore it for 7+ hours maximum. This has a radiant matte finish and medium to full buildable coverage. However, when you try to build it up, do it with a brush, the sponge will make it patchy. This is available in 32 shades on Nykaa. Can you see how the shade just brightens up my under eyes? It's a perfect night shade for me, but not a natural light daytime shade. So that was the last concealer. Here are the swatches of all the concealers, so you can compare the shades. Hope this video was helpful. If it was, do not forget to hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.